We have strayed a little bit of late, but my channel, before we strayed a little bit of late, was all about living a peaceful life, living a slow life, living a life with less stress, living a life with less financial expenditure if we could do. We strolled in the countryside talking about the pros and cons, and I got feedback, both good and bad. And you need the negative feedback because no one wants to live in an echo chamber with people just validating everything they say and do. That will lead you nowhere except down a road where you begin to believe everything that you think. We all need to go through life thinking about the good things, the pros and cons of our lives. It's like a box ticking exercise. We start off when we're young, questioning, making little decisions as we go through life, questioning our path, questioning the world around us, and it's a series of little box ticking exercises that we start when we're very, very young. And then as we get older, as you get to, especially when you get near my age, you seem to tick most of those boxes. The boxes you have to tick are few and far between. And that's because you have found your identity. You've found your way in life. You've decided on what your opinions are. Your emotions have settled down and you react to things naturally without that kind of exuberance of youth, that questioning. Somebody says something and then you question it and you're angry and you rebel, which is what you should do when you're young. But when you get older, most of those boxes have been ticked and you can just settle down and enjoy that little bit of life you've got, free from intellectual conflict and emotional conflict. It's a grand place to be. So I think we start to begin to decide what kind of a lifestyle we want to live from an early age, and we start gravitating towards that lifestyle from an early age. Familial influences, peer pressure, political views coming at you when you've not actually formed any political views. The amount of risk you're prepared to take in your life, with its physical or emotional or financial, all these things go to form the person that you are. So the person you are now, the person I am in old age, was formed many, many years ago by little box ticking exercises when I was a kid. I didn't suddenly, at 40 or 30 or even 20, I didn't suddenly decide. Sure, things come along and influences come along, and especially when you are in your 20s, especially when you are reached puberty and you then become what you think, what you consider to be an adult, and then you rebel and you go out on protests, and everybody in the world is wrong but you. And if people tell you that that door is black when that door is black, you will tell them that black door is white, because that's how we all behave when we're growing up. But still, the die has been cast and you're already on the way, you're already on that road to becoming the adult that you will eventually become. And that is a pretty big thing, because that can be the difference between living a life in peace and harmony with your fellow man, or it can be a life living at odds with everything around you. And it all starts when you are but a wee bairn, just popped into the world, and things start influencing you. I've worked outside for most of my life. I was never pushed too hard academically by my parents, who were actually academics. There's no right and no wrong way about that. There's no, if, no, how you influence your children is up to you. But I wasn't pushed that hard by my parents. I was encouraged, but I wasn't pushed. I never really went to night. I had a group of friends. We'd much rather sit in the pub all night and just chat. I never went out looking for conflict. It wasn't in my makeup. I was surrounded by music and books, whether I took advantage of those or not. And from my recollections, I probably didn't take as much advantage as I should have done. And all those little things on top of each other, little micro box ticking exercises, form the person you will be when you're older. And all those non-confrontational, arty-farty, non-completely mad pressure from my parents, I think led me down a kind of arty-farty route, a non-confrontational, hippie route, which I've lived for most of my life. There's no good, there's no right, and there's no wrong in that. And the good thing about it is we all take a completely unique route. Every one of us is a unique animal. We will be influenced different ways by our parents, by the life we lead, by the choices we make all the way through our life. And that's why we have this fabulous, diverse populace across the world who think differently, who are prepared to debate, who love art, who love fighting, who love this, who love that. And it all makes up for this wonderful tapestry of humankind that's around us. I never really made any great soul-searching decisions when I was young, and I think this led me to a life where there were always hurdles in the way. There were always decisions to make, but I just made the first decision. I made the most comfortable decision. I made the easiest decision. I was never one for... I took the easy route. I always took the lazy, easy route. And this led me to all sorts of little obstacles. Because when you take the easy, lazy route, you put yourself in harm's way because you haven't thought things through. You haven't looked towards the future, when life is like a game of chess, when you have to think about 4 or 5 moves ahead, and I never did. And so that meant that as I grew up, my bad decisions, or my decisions, let's not call them bad decisions because there's no bad decisions, my decisions compounded themselves and built up, and then I kind of lent me around a route. Because of the bad decisions I'd made in the past, that meant that some opportunities then were closed off to me because I wasn't as academic. I was as bright, not daft, but because I didn't go down the academic route, that meant that job opportunities were closed down on me. But I didn't bother about that because I'd chosen the lifestyle I wanted to choose as a job. But it still could have been a huge problem later in life when I started to look towards a career, which I never did. It was always a job. I just did a job I wanted to do, and as luck would have it, it worked out for me. Never made a penny, but was always very, very happy. But it was choices I made when I was young, pre-teen almost, as a child. Choices, opportunities, the world around me, it's all formed. Your future is formed in the first 10 years of your life. And after that, you will end up Happy, sad, satisfied, not satisfied, free, in prison, wealthy, poor. All because of little micro box ticking exercises that you did when you were in short pants, or you had your hair in a ponytail when you were a kid, when you were still completely dependent on adults for your safety and your guidance. But all the time, despite that guidance, you were making little lifestyle choices. Your mind was forming itself into the adult you would eventually become. Look back, everybody who watches this, look back on your past, on your life, on your childhood, and tell me that that wasn't the thing that formed the adult that you are. Okay, you've made decisions, good or bad, when you were an adult, but the basis, the groundwork was done. The way you think, your emotions, your empathy, especially your empathy, was formed. It's natural anyway, but I think it's kind of released and formed and given the okay to come out there. Because in a lot of people, because of their upbringing, because of their lifestyle when they were a child, they've been told to push empathy down. It's not manly, it's not strong. Showing empathy is a weakness. And other people, when they were very, very young, were encouraged to have empathy, to have feelings for other people. It's all down to what happens when you're very, very young. I think I'm fairly happy as the adult. In fact, I am very happy being the adult I have become. I'm happy being me. I'm happy that I'm negotiating life. I'm going through the world doing as little harm to anybody else as possible. I'm getting as much out of the world as I possibly can in this short journey we've got. And that doesn't mean that if you are an adult and you're not happy, that you can't change that. So many people so many people. I'd like to know what percentage of the whole. But so many people will be dissatisfied with their life, be satisfied with the person they've become, but will still just sit there and accept it, but mourn about it. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is just a waste of energy, isn't it? There is always a way of correcting things a little bit. I don't think any of us can expect to be completely happy. I don't think any of us ever will be, but it's kind of making the best out of a bad job, isn't it? Life's a bit of a bad job. Life throws all sorts of rubbish at you, and we've got to make the best out of that bad job. And some of us can, and some of us have, and some of us could, but we don't. Some of us can't, and that's a shame, but some of us could, and we don't, and that's a shame too. So if you aren't completely happy being the person you've become as an adult, it doesn't mean you can't make some small decisions in life, some little micro decisions to change that every day. It doesn't mean you will become him over there or her over there or him on the telly. You will never become another person. It's like celebrity adoration, adulation. Nobody will ever become that celebrity. People kind of try to replicate in their own lives the lives that their favourite celebrity lives, but you never will, because you didn't have their upbringing. You didn't make the decisions when you were 5 that they made. But that's great, because that just means that you are you. You don't want to be somebody else. Why would you want to be somebody else? You are you. You are fine. You are an individual. You are beautiful. You are part of the whole. You are a spoke in the wheel that makes life great, that makes this world a great place to be. We're all individuals. All the bad people are individuals, all the good people are individuals, and when you throw us all in that great melting pot, you get this, you get the world, you get life, for good or for bad. Even the bad make it good, because who wants just good? How boring would that be? You may end up being an old hippie, you may end up being an entrepreneur, you may end up being somebody who lives on the street, you may end up being just Joe Soap who goes to work every morning, comes home every night, looks after his kids and is very proud of that. You may be anything. You can be anything, but circumstances dictate that not that many of us can 100% be the person we wanted to be at 5. Not every one of us will end up being an engine driver or a pilot or working in the fire service like we wanted to be when we were 5. But that doesn't matter, because what you want to be is fairly happy. I'm not saying you can be completely happy. That ain't going to work. But as long as you've made the best out of a bad job, then you've done the best you can. And I'm proud of you. You're a great spoke in this great wheel. Beautiful. We're going to go and sit under the trees over here now, because Molly's ready for a little rest. It's a very warm day and it looks so inviting under these trees, in that grass, in that shade. So that's where we're going now, under this clear, crystal blue sky. All I can see is blue and green, the green of the trees. It's like just 2 colours. There's just 2 colours in our world at the moment, and that makes it simple, and simple is good. Simple is good for a simple man and his simple dog. And we will see you simply on the flip. Peace and love.